Hell with it. We'll just do it live.
Mics are hot. Let's go.
All right. Hey, we're here, and it's been a hot minute.
Yeah. Work, illness, all those things always get in the way.
Yeah, Easter. I mean, it's been crazy.
Yeah.
We had alternating weeks of being sick and just absolute nuttiness, and we both gone through some personal changes. So yeah, it's been a hot minute, and I do apologize. And because of the new way that Patreon collects money, I have not figured out how to pause billing. But when I do, I will pause it for a month, because we are literally going to have a 5-week break. So
yeah,
that's terrible. We have to get back on our normal 3 weeks. So, boy, this is going to be a nutty show, because so much has happened while we've been away.
As we have gone through, personal changes in our life. All the games have too.
Yeah, and game companies, and oh boy, there's so much to talk about. Just a list of things we're going to try to look at today, at least cover briefly. But Infinity got the newest 5.1.1 rule book, cleans up a lot of stuff from the original N5. Mm-hmm. Legions Imperialis got a FAQ, the first FAQ for the game since it came out, and it's a doozy. It's a big whopper. AOS got updates. 40K got updates. There's Acon reveals. Battletech got... yeah, we'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, Grimdark Battletech. Yay! No. And we still are going to look a little bit into the Ravaged Coast, the AOS narrative book. But again, it's one of those books where you're either going to buy it because you want it and you're going to go through it, or you're going to not care about it in the least. And then, of course, like we said, the Acon reveals. So basically, this is going to be the updates and changes show, and catching up with everything. So, wow, we got so much to go over. We should just dive right in. What do you think?
I think we should.
All right, then. To start off, I'm going to be doing a video here shortly, which I will release as soon as I can. And the title is going to be, Can You Improve Perfect? Well, I'm here to tell you, yes, you can, because there is a new version of the Squad Sprayer coming out, and it improves on what I had thought was perfection. The new Squad Sprayer not only has metal in the tops so that you can use magnetized bases, but he spread out the distance between the bases so that you can fit models that have, like, say, a weird pointed sword or something like that. Just enough little extra room to be able to do all those things. Better ergonomics. I didn't think you could make the damn thing better, but he did. He did. So if you are on, these are not released for sale yet. He sent us a demo model real quick to look at, and it is amazing. You'll see the video here shortly, probably within this week. But it's amazing. It's just so... everything that I could have thought I wanted to ask for is there. Awesome. So, and if you want to get a Squad Sprayer of your own, this is not a sponsored thing, but if you want to get a hold of your own Squad Sprayer, head over to Etsy. I'll have the link in the show notes. Go to Etsy.com, Squad Sprayer, and use the promo code ANG15 to get 15% off your order.
15% is a good amount.
It is. It's a chunk. It's a chunk of change. Not when it comes to tariffs. Oh, but Zinga. I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Yes, I
did. You could say the quiet parts out loud.
Yes.
Yeah, it looks so much better. It's cleaner having the metal, so you don't have to worry with the sticky tack if you're the type of person who likes to use magnets. It's an amazing model. I can't wait for it to come out for everyone to purchase.
It's going to be glorious. So I think we probably need to start hitting the elephant in the room, which is the Acon. The GW Acon reveals.
So much.
Would actually be enough for a show. But there's more. So what did they reveal? What did Games Workshop reveal at Acon? Well,
I think maybe like one or two things.
A couple.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You want to hit the first one?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people love, this army, and those who love it like obsessively. Space Wolves, right?
Wow.
So they end up, announcing, the Space Wolves codex coming out, the new box set, that kind of thing. Old models completely reimagined.
Oh, yeah.
They look fantastic, and they look more Space Wolvy than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them are just beautiful. The new Rune Priest, hello.
Yeah. Just gorgeous.
And then, getting the Blood Claws updated, things like that. There's going to be a lot of Space Wolves players out there who'll be pretty dang happy with it. Unless they're those weirdos who only like the small Marines. But,
Yeah.
whatever.
Whatever.
Turn
the page, man. Turn the page.
Well, they're shorter, so line of sight.
Oh, okay.
Line of sight doesn't matter. You're a Space Wolves player. You're running across the board to hit them in the face.
Yes.
Right? Let's be honest.
Crunch them.
Yeah. I'm excited for all the Space Wolves players out there. Like,
Yeah.
anyone who plays Space Wolves usually almost only plays Space Wolves because they're so obsessed with them, right?
And they look so good on the table. And, I don't want to say they're easy to paint, but they're like salamanders. Once you have that green down, or in this case, once you have that light blue down, that rust gray, everything after that now is an embellishment. And you can stop at almost any point and they look good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a great looking army. The lore is just so deep.
Yep.
And they've always been a lot of fun to play. And I would almost say that their rules have always been they're like the other, big name chapters, Ultramarines, Blood Angels. They have rules that make them feel like what they are, as opposed to the generic Ultramarine. This is the poster child for what a Space Marine is.
Yeah.
And I am so generic, I am so bland, but I can do everything. So when you start branching out into, the Salamanders, the Raven Guard, now the Space Wolves, you get to have that flavor as well as all that power. So it'll be interesting to see how they are received and how they play on the tabletop, and if they're going to have power creep or if they're going to slot right into the game.
We'll see how power creep works. We'll talk a little bit about a nerf later on. But yeah, I'm excited for Space Wolves.
Yep.
What's the next thing?
Well, Crusade Armageddon. A new Crusade book is coming out, and man, I guess you can't do a Crusade unless you update the Grey Knights, which really, to me, have felt like a forgotten offshoot of Space Marines for so long. And now they're getting a thing. And they're going to get a codex, which I have always loved the Grey Knights. I think some of the model kits that have come out for them have just been so over the top cool.
Yeah.
But they have either been way too powerful, or then the Nerf hammer hits them and they're just like, we're supposed to fight demons? We can't squish kitties.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not doing demons.
Oh, goodness. I mean, I remember Grey Knights in, I think it was 8th edition into 9th, when, the whole like psychic phase was actually a thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I see why that they changed everything up when we got into the new edition, but like they used to take like 30-minute psychic phases because
easy.
every unit
was a psyker.
Yeah. Every single one. It's like, dear God, please stop.
Yeah.
Or just like, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go get a drink. I'll be back. You can text me if you finish your
notes
psychic
with
phase.
what you did.
Yeah.
And what was funny was if you were playing demons against them, it was actually reasonably fast because they would throw their stuff, you would remove models, and then you'd just keep moving on.
Yeah.
If they were playing against anybody else, they were trying to shoehorn these anti-demon rules into, well, it's also anti-Tyranid,
Oh,
no, not really. So, yeah, I'm hoping for them to get a nice, clean, new codex that makes them at least fun on the table. I don't think you'll ever see Grey Knights. They may rocket to the top right when the codex drops, and then when the Nerf hammer hits, I just hope they don't go to the bottom again. I hope they become just another average 50-50 win rate. That'd be so good.
That would be great. Yeah.
And then they announced, and oddly enough, up for sale yesterday, were the codexes for the Death Guard and the World Eaters. So a bunch of updates for them.
Yeah.
New kits, gorgeous kits. Wow. Yeah. And they went up for sale yesterday. So that's, you can't beat that. I think the collector's editions of both of those are just beautiful, but I'm just holding out for the regular because, I'm over that collector's edition thing. Yeah.
Yeah, the updates to the models are absolutely fantastic. I mean, Death Guard has always been like gorgeous. Like,
Yeah.
they were really. I know that Thousand Suns had like their aesthetic, right?
Yeah.
But there's just something about the Death Guard that's just so unique, right?
Yes.
And if you've ever painted a Death Guard model, you know just how wonderful it is to paint it.
Yeah.
Because it has so many intricacies that you just did not, even expect. And you can paint them any which way you want to,
Yeah.
and they have amazing character.
Yeah.
Like, my Death Guard's all gold.
Yeah.
Right? I call them my golden girls.
Yeah.
And painting them, with the red cloaks, essentially making a mockery of Custodes.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
They look great that way. They look great the normal way. You can paint them any which way you want. I've seen someone do a full Death Guard army in Black Legion colors, and it's just gorgeous.
Oh, God, yes, that would be cool.
So fantastic. World Eaters have a very unique aesthetic. I think they're a little bit more divisive in terms of like whether you like them or not.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can acknowledge that they're like well-designed models, but some people are just like, But if you do like them, the new models coming out look fantastic.
They're another one of those that if you like World Eaters, you really like World Eaters and you like everything behind them.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, then it's just, it's another Chaos Force.
Yeah.
Whatever. Which to me is weird because they are truly a defining Chaos Force.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They also announced a new 40K chapter approved mission deck.
Very nice.
So yeah, we'll be seeing new chapter approved missions. It's always nice that they throw these curves in there and new missions so that nothing gets old. It doesn't get, oh geez, not that mission again. God, I hate that one. Okay, there's going to be new ones. They're going to be good. Some are going to be bad. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
On the AOS front, Glory Handbook. I should have said Glory Hole. Glory Hole book 2025. General's Handbook 2025. And the Sand and Bone Gaming Pack for Spearhead.
Yep.
So another expansion to Spearhead, another way to play, another place to play. And of course, with a new General's Handbook. Now, this one has rankled some people because it's coming as a box set.
Yeah.
You have to, because it has new objectives and other things. Now, I think they're adding value to the box with the General's Handbook by giving you, the objectives you're going to need and all that stuff. But some people are just angry that if you just download it, you won't have everything you need to play.
Yeah.
And I get it. I understand that. But Games Workshop, anybody ring a bell? Yeah. So, hey, there's money to be made. Let's do that. I can't really fault them. When you're going to make a basic change to the missions and all that stuff, release the objectives and stuff that people need to play.
Yep.
So, I think of it as a good thing. I'm really looking forward to that Sand and Bone Gaming Pack. Just a new way to play Spearhead. A new area, a new set of maps. And of course, these are going to be bespoke maps, so everything's going to be there for you. Mm-hmm. Again, AOS, strength to strength. So, and of course, this is going to take place in Shyish.
Yep.
So finally, we're not in one of the normal, boring material realms. It's time to branch out.
It is.
You have
it is
8 mortal realms. Let's see a couple of different ones for a change. I know.
Other than being vaguely mentioned in the story.
Yeah.
Let's actually go there.
And we've beaten it to death why that was such a bad idea. Because when you make an infinite size play space, it's really hard to then quantify what is impactful in that space.
Yeah.
And my theory is nothing is impactful. If it's infinitely large, who gives a shit about a city that fell? Because there's 800 more just like it.
Yeah.
And they also announced their roadmap going forward. Some of the factions that are going to get hit. Idneth Deepkin are going to get the next revision, and then Caradhran Overlords. Then Night Haunt. Yeah, make me wait, you boogerheads. And then Blades of Corn. Yeah, so they've basically charted the roadmap going forward for the factions that are going to get their 4th edition books and redos. I don't know. I have that note again about the GHB being a box set with the markers and pie plates. I think it's a good thing. I think people are a little upset for the wrong reasons. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, GW's always trying to make the money. It'd be cool if they could release them separate
Yeah.
as well, particularly if you know you got to beat on someone who makes amazing stuff through Etsy. That way you don't have to buy all the crappy cardboard that they're going to give you and have something like custom made that's, you know, same size, equivalent, all that kind of
Sure.
thing, you know.
But it's GW cardboard. It's premium. Yeah. So, yeah, it's, you know, we're going to have some fun with this. And I don't blame them for doing it, but I do understand the anger.
Yeah.
And then for Kill Team, wow. Wowie, wow, 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 wow. Kill Team Typhon. And it's going to have Tyranid terrain in it. What is happening to the world? I understand America's going through some weird stuff, but Britain, Games Workshop, please. Terrain that isn't Gothic?
I know, right?
What is your thing? If you look at the release, the terrain is very plain. It's almost boring. But my God, it's so huge. It's terrain that isn't, I don't know.
Ruins. It's
Like,
something different.
yeah, it's kind of not geared around Space Marines.
Who would have thought?
So I am so jazzed to see this set come out. And looking at the terrain, I can see how it may be useful in a Kill Team game. It's another one of those, like, I bought Blood and Zeal for the statue. I'm going to buy that one for the terrain. I don't know that I will use it with Kill Team. We'll have to see.
Yeah, there's probably going to be some specific rules for it.
Hopefully.
There'd have to be, since it's so different from anything they've done before. Yeah, like, so when that dropped, you know, like, you get the image, like, oh, here are the armies, and you see, like, the Tyranid terrain in the background. You're like, oh, that's really cool. Until you go down further, and you're like, no, you actually get that in the box. And you're like, okay.
Sign this puppy up.
And please release that independent of, you know, the kill teams inside, because I would buy a few boxes of that terrain.
And, you know, the one nice part about Games Workshop is they don't miss a trick to make the dollars.
No.
They will release that terrain separately. And who knows? Maybe there's more behind it. So you could only be hopeful. I am hopeful. They seem to be going, you know, it's Games Workshop. They're going to flood the market with stuff. And it's pretty good stuff, I think.
Well, I think it's I mean, they're always smart with their business practices, you know, but, you know, dropping that terrain in the box, probably going to sell more boxes than they would otherwise, right?
Oh, hell yeah.
Because if it was just the same crap that I got from the Orc box, you know, or whatever it is, people are going to be like, yeah.
No, wouldn't sell.
But, you know, like, it's a unique signature on this particular product. So I imagine that's going to sell quite a bit of it. And then after, you know, sales, you know, peter there, and they actually break the teams out of the box into their independent boxes, then they'll probably release the terrain then.
Sure.
And it's going to sell a lot more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're going to get double the whammy out of this, because I got to say, the two teams that are in that box are, of course, the Tyranid Kill Team, go figure, and the, what's his name, the Mechanicum. They look so good. They'll sell on their own, even if there was no terrain in the box. I would buy that box for those two kill teams. They look so good. And those Tyranid models are just going to slot right into your Tyranid army.
Yep.
They're just so great looking. Yeah, they know how to knock it out of the park. But just the joy of having a whole new area to play in, Typhon. It comes with the dossier and all of the markers that you need, plus the cards to do all the gaming on that front. It's going to be a breathe new life into Kill Team, which every release seems to do, and they're not missing a lot on these releases. I don't know if you saw some of when I said that the what's his name, the Imperial Kill Team from Blood and Zeal may or may not be any good. A 67% win rate.
Yep.
The way they buff stack was holy. Yeah, so that has been fixed a little. It still needs a touch, but it's just that Kill Team was a departure from the normal way to play kill teams, and the way they buff stacked and just made a few things. It was very Infinity-esque.
Yeah.
You would get somebody ready to do some stuff. They would go out there and be just a force of nature. And then you just get ready for the next guy and you get him all up to speed. And, you know, it's a different kind of play style, but it dominated. So they did what they do.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. So that's the big highlights. Other than in 40K, when the Mordaka came out for the orcs. A lot of people were like, this could be an issue. And boy, did it turn out to be an issue.
Oh my God.
Holy hand grenades.
I was watching Art of War right before this came out, and they did like the top 5 detachments, and like Mordaka was hands down number 1. Right? Like, what is it, sustained hits 2 or something?
Yeah.
Like it was just absurd.
Yeah.
You know, you roll buckets of dice.
Yes.
When you are an orc player. So every time you get a 6 with sustained hits 2, oh my God. Like it's insanity. It is the old orc mentality of if you throw enough dice, they can't survive.
It's except ramped up to 11 because now their weapons aren't just crap weapons anymore.
Yeah.
They're on par with just about everybody else's, and you're still throwing a bucket of dice.
Yep.
And then just things melted in front of them. So they did, just before Adepticon, release the change to Mordaka. I think just so that Adepticon did not get just owned by orcs. Because, I mean, that would have been a real black eye for 40K if they had, you know, if the top 5 were orc. Okay. What was our balance issue again?
Yeah, no.
We don't have one.
But they do this every single time. Like they'll release something that makes orcs just busted as crap. And then they nerf them into oblivion so they're not even relevant anymore and just let Space Marines win again.
Yeah.
Like it's just so disappointing. Like remember when the
orc buggy list?
The buggy list.
Yeah. And then Tuesday there was a nerf.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was too funny. Yeah, the Bay Area Open gets won by a guy that comes out of nowhere who figured out a loophole and exploited it.
Yeah.
And Tuesday, the great way they did this was Sunday, the guy wins. Monday, you get all those sales, hundreds and hundreds of buggies go out the door. Tuesday, they're not worth a crap anymore. Yep. I loved it. I'm surprised they did it that quickly. I would have figured they'd let the sales go for a week and then nerf it. But I think everybody knew it was going to get crushed.
Yeah, as soon as everyone saw it, because some guy actually like took time with orcs, which a lot of people don't necessarily do. And they're like, oh my God, how do you stop that?
Well, that was, I watched his final game and it was such I'm just going to do what I do. And you can't, not only can you not avoid what I'm going to do, but you can't stop it.
Yeah.
And it was just such it was an aberration. It was a loophole that existed to have somebody go that deep and say, I can do this. I'm going to go win a major. And to do it, to go 5-0 and just wipe the floor with all the top competitors. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't know. There's this part of me that goes, well, if that's the balanced state of the game and that's how they've done their quality testing, that's a tell. That's indicative of something bad. But in reality, it was fun. And I think it was good for the game to see that somebody from the middle of nowhere can come up with, oh, this kills everything and everybody. And it wasn't like he just all of a sudden showed up out of nowhere and went to Bay Area and said, I win. No, he'd been playing that list and refining it locally and then went to Bay Area and played well enough to win the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
So more power to him. God bless him. So that was, I'm sorry.
Stop nerfing orcs.
Yeah, please don't nerf us anymore. That was it for Games Workshop out at Adepticon. Other things have come out since then. We'll catch up to all those things. In the BattleTech world around Adepticon, some things were announced. One thing I do want to hit is if you are a fan of Reactor Ops, and you should be on the guy's Patreon because it is so worth it. He's got a new version out now with the formation builder, and it will start spitting out the campaign spreadsheets. It's just a crazy great new version and a fantastic update to a fantastic program.
Right.
So, but then Catalyst did something weird. And the way this came out, like the week before April Fool's Day, a lot of people were convinced they were going to just, on April Fool's Day, they were going to be like, haha, got ya. We're not going to do that. But no,
they're doing it.
BattleTech Gothic is the first in their new series of the BattleTech Universe Compendium expansions. And this is basically an alternate history, an alternate timeline. And this one is the Grimdark. It's what we all know from a different manufacturer, but they've completely changed the timeline, how it works, what the Star League did, what happened after the Civil War. And now you have basically battle mechs that are kind of, I'm not going to say chaos infused, but let's just admit it. They may have read some other source material out there in the world and said, yeah, we'll do that. I'm not saying they did.
Not that they've gotten in trouble for that before.
No, they're fine with copyright. But yeah, so Battletech Gothic is a thing, and it's coming your way soon. It looks like a cool box. I kind of like the idea of a different way to play and a different style and a different take on the universe. I'm not sure they have the resources to support all that stuff, but if this is like they're going to do a couple of releases and put out a couple of boxes and that's it, and then they move on to something else, that's fine. But if they try to keep all the lines going, no, you're where you're at now. You're the number 2 miniatures company for a reason. Don't throw that away.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of looking forward to it, but we'll see.
But yeah, there's also updates from Atomic Mass Games. We got MCP, Shatterpoint, and Star Wars Legion.
Oh yeah.
And then particularly for this one, Bill, take it over because I did not look at the Crisis Protocol stuff.
Okay, well they don't have a big Adepticon presence, but they did do a developer spotlight around the time of Adepticon because that's what you do. And they basically charted the roadmap for MCP going forward, which was nice to see because we did have that very long period where not a lot came out. But basically in Q2 of 2025, what we're looking at is the Criminal Syndicate affiliation pack, the Midnight Suns affiliation pack, the Defenders affiliation pack. All of these are basically packing your affiliation list into a box. So no more having to buy a bunch of models you don't want to get the ones you do. Now you can pick up a box of, hey, I want to play Midnight Suns. Here's the box for you.
Gotcha.
So again, repacks, but also these are awesome. Then also coming up is Phoenix and Phoenix Unleashed. So read that as Phoenix and Dark Phoenix. I don't know why they didn't. Anyway.
Yeah. Why rename it? Just
So
go with what works, folks.
Yeah. So not only do you have Jean Grey from the old X-Men, but now you're going to get the Phoenix and Phoenix Unleashed. So it's a very cool looking model too. Very nice. And then lastly, in the next quarter, Avalanche, Exodus, and Lady Mastermind are going to come out. Looking forward to all those, really. They're not actually what you'd call mainstream heroes, but they're very, very cool.
Well, also the announcement of Multiple Man.
Yeah.
Like, that's so, like, he's such a kooky character,
Ain't it, though?
I can only imagine what his card's going to do. Like, every time you hit him, he, creates his clones or something. Like,
maybe?
Because it shows him individually, and then it's got the pack where you have the 3 ninjas or whatever. It's got 3 of him. Though I'm excited about Jubilee though.
Yep.
Yeah, she's a fan favorite, I would say.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be neat. And then I won't go into Q3 and what's coming up in 2026, but some of the highlights are going to be a new Ronin, Tigra, Spider-Man 2099, Ultimate Spider-Man, what else? Spider Noir, Spider Ham. So for those of you that enjoy, I can't wait to get Spider Ham.
I know Spider Ham is going to be so fun.
It's like Bob again, but they're coming out with a whole bunch of new stuff. Valkyrie on Elendil, so the Warriors 3, Adam Warlock, Moondragon. Sorry, I said Mondragon. My bad. Quasar. So yeah, lots of things now. Danny Moonstar, Havoc, Jubilee, and Multiple Man. That's in 2026 Q2, so we have about a year to wait for those.
Yeah.
But, we're going to get Iron Lad and Ironmonger first, but we are going to get Kang the Conqueror.
Oh, God.
Can that not be good? I mean, honestly, can that not be
He's
good?
going to be busted.
Yeah.
The King has to be busted.
I'm hoping that, they release him as an ultimate encounter.
Yeah.
Or not so much as a, Dormammu type character. But if they do, that's great. I'm all for it.
Yeah. Dormammu or Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kings.
I mean, they've proven they can do it because the last few big bad guys have been pretty okay.
Yeah.
So, it's Dormammu's fine if you buckle down into the skills to play him in his faction correctly. Well, his faction is anything. But yeah, I mean, some of these big bads that are coming out with like weird altering rules, they're not too bad. They're kind of fun to play, and they it gives you a new feeling as opposed to just I'm taking Avengers against Midnight Suns or whatever. Okay, fine. Just a new way of thinking about it and doing it. So yay.
And the thing I liked about it for the most part, except when, Thanos was toxic, is that like they still feel manageable in some way. Like they are powerful, but if you know how to play against them, they're not oppressive.
Right.
And I think that they've done such a good job of balancing out the characters in MCP.
Yeah, if you take Web Warriors against a Dormammu team or, an Abomination, there's going to be you're going to get your face pushed in if you play it just normally. But if you really look at how they work, you can get around them. So it's in a good place, I think.
Did you take a look at Phoenix's card?
I did not.
Oh, God.
She's going to be good.
Ridiculous. Like, I almost feel like they have to print an extra large card. So that way you could fit everything on here. Like, dear God, she's got her 2 basic attacks. She's got 3 power and 3 passives.
Okay.
Yeah. Feels like a Phoenix thing. She has her own special card called I Am Reborn.
Yep.
When she would be dazed, you play the card and she essentially detonates.
Oh my.
And pushes everyone back 2 and gives them incinerate.
That's our girl.
That's our girl. You see the models though?
Yeah, they're just gorgeous.
Like when she's unleashed, she goes to a large size base.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Dang.
Yeah, I remember that. She's the one that basically she will change her footprint when she swaps back and forth.
Yep.
Very interesting methodology on her. Speaking again of AMG and stuff, they released through Monument Hobbies their new paint set. Man, those amp colors they're saturated. They're bright colors. They're what you would expect from a superhero kind of paint set.
Makes sense.
But it's not over the top. You're not looking at colors that are just going to make your game look childish. We're not talking about WizKids type paint colors. They're a very good paint set. No, 2 very good paint sets. And yeah, I like them both. I like them. And some unique colors and some colors that are so close to existing colors in the range that you're like, why? And last but not least, in the new things section, I wanted to talk about something. When we did our How to Get Started with Infinity, which we are probably going to revisit.
We'll have to, yeah.
Yeah. I forgot one of the most absolutely required websites for Infinity, and I feel like a complete fool. One of the things in Infinity is you need a lot of tokens to represent different things.
Yes.
And while the game comes with an amazingly good assortment of tokens, it's not going to be everything you need. There is a website, and it's basically Ghost Lord's Markers, a guy that puts together this website where he gathers every marker from the game. He puts it on a website. You select the marker. You select what size you want it in, be it 25, 40, and how many. And what his website does is it generates a PDF page with all those markers on it. So let's say you want, 10 regular orders, 10 orders, and you need 2 camo, 2 immobilized A, 2 immobilized B, a couple of minefields, a couple of whatever. There's so many different counters out there that you need. And you just basically pick them, the sizes, and then his website will arrange them all, spit you out a PDF, and then you can just cut them out and put them into markers and make them into markers, and you've got everything you need.
Awesome.
So it is a super great website if you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on acrylic, oh my God, top-end screen printed acrylic counters. Here's an absolutely, you go get some of those bottle caps from Amazon that cost you $8.99. You print these sheets out. You have a complete set of counters for $10, and it's awesome.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I don't know why I glossed over that. Well, I do. It's because I'm an idiot. And when we get into the lore section, we are going to cover the big changes in Infinity, which this revision should have been called Steel Phalanx Isn't Winning Enough. So we're going to go harder into Steel Phalanx. They are so good now. Oh my God, so good. So shall we go into hobby? Shall we take a quick break and then go into hobby progress?
Let's do that.
You see, for my part, I look upon a promise as binding.
Promise was
It never occurred to me.
I command a kingship, not a private
Same
yacht. We
opinion.
do not have time for your damned hobbies, sir.
Okay, we're back with some hobby progress. What's up?
Yeah, so haven't been doing a ton with miniatures recently.
What?
A lot more stuff that's more after dark, like, Magic and a certain video game that kept me up till 4 a.m. But
Oblivion.
I did get one of the boxes for the red caps
Nice.
from the from Warcrow Adventures. It's the primary box. It's essentially the one that created the expansion that created the red caps.
Yep.
With their not specifically named but leader Nuada.
Not specific, but
Yeah, it's funny because he's just an elf,
Yeah.
right? Until you read his card and he specifically has abilities for red caps.
yeah.
Which, red caps, if you know your Fey folklore, they're the little guys with red heads that cause a lot of mischief and eat things and beat stuff up.
Yeah.
And so that comes with a rather large model, the Crucible,
Yeah.
which is pretty fun. It literally has the little red caps climbing out of his skin. Because one of the things he can do is restore units.
Oh my.
It's so funny because Nuada's so completely different looking. Like think Nuada from Hellboy 2.
Yeah.
Right? That's exactly what he looks like. And then you have all these little mischievous guys running around, which I feel like was actually a throwback to Hellboy 2.
Yeah.
So I painted that entire set. There's another set I need to get with 7 more models, but it just wasn't available at our local store, so I haven't ordered it yet. But I fully painted, based them and everything. Went with, the classic red colors, but I made it like an autumn theme, which is, Bill and I had been messaging about it before, because something Bill's working on right now is sort of a springtime type thing. I'll let Bill make that announcement. Yeah, so I painted all this, like they're fully done.
Yeah.
100%
Nice.
complete.
Nice.
And they were just a joy to paint.
Yep.
Even being so small, because a lot of them are really small. The detail on them is just out of this world. So I highly recommend if you're looking at that faction to pick it up, because they have some crazy abilities.
yeah.
I mean, restoring units, causing additional damage. Like, they just do a bunch of wacky stuff. And they're very unique in that if you buy the 2 boxes that the red caps come in, that's the entire army.
Yeah, I know. That's awesome. Gosh.
And like, it's specifically, they made it so you don't have to buy any more models, right? You just get those 2 boxes, and the cards that you get from the set, you have the exact number.
Who'da thunk it?
Right.
I mean, who'da thunk it? Corvus Belli has just, it's such a great, Warcrow is such a great, interesting, fun game. And they're making it so freaking approachable that it's nuts. I am going to start off with the segue that you threw out there for me and just say that we want to throw thanks out to Corvus Belli. They offered us the opportunity to pick up the Warcrow, the Cyanin bundle early, as well as the JSA for Infinity bundle early, about a month before everybody. So I released the 2 videos showing the unboxing and then what they looked like when they were built and primed. Really want to thank Corvus Belli for letting us do that.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. I have all of the Cyanin for Warcrow built. They are all primed, and I have severe anxiety about starting to paint them, which, as I move on through my list of things I've done, you'll see I danced all around them, but not them itself.
Yeah.
Part of that is because now that I have my finger back and I can actually hold a brush and paint, I actually kind of wanted to do some stuff to get my skills back.
Yeah.
And to remember what it was like to actually normally hold a paintbrush again before I tackled something like the Cyanin, which I really want to do a good job on.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I worked on all of the rest of my hegemony models. So I have built everything out there for hegemony and got it all built and primed and started painting on them to get a full hegemony of Embersig army fieldable. Realizing that I also needed to do the Northern Tribes, I finished building all of those, got them all primed, and we'll be working on them here shortly.
Okay.
So that's been a lot of fun, but I have to say the Infinity bug hit me again. And it's because I was, giddy with excitement when the box from Corvus Belli came in. And I started tearing through the cyanide stuff, obviously. And lo and behold, the wife is looking at the other stuff. And she's like, what does JSA stand for? And I'm like, Japanese Separatist Army. She's like, those are kind of cool.
Right.
And I'm like, immediately stopped what I was doing and was like, really? Are they of any interest to you? And I showed her the models and she was like, oh, those are cool. Because I showed her the Yujing, the basically the China forces before, and she wasn't really, it didn't throw her. The JSA stuff really threw her. So what I did was I dropped everything and I built the Infinity Essentials box. So the Kestrel Force and the JSA Force, and the JSA is still getting painted. I hope to finish those today. But the Kestrels are all painted. They're all done and based. And we're going to play our first game of the basic essentials from that basic rule book that comes in that book. We're going to do it absolutely 100% vanilla so that she can learn it at the same time.
Love it.
So, yeah. At the same time, I went into Eton the other day, and Brian's there, and he comes up, and he hands me a little plastic baggie, and inside is Father Inquisitor Mendoza. I have been looking for that model for ages. Nobody is selling it. And here he just hands me one and says, yeah, enjoy.
Oh, man.
I was like, oh, yeah. So that's all built, going to get painted. So, yeah, I've been kind of getting into the Infinity train again. So
Good.
I'm digging that, really. So can't wait to really get down on those. They're fun. In the MCP world, because we have a event coming up, and I decided I wanted to do Inhumans for it.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I finally decided it's time to get off the schneid. I painted up all the OG Inhumans, so Black Bolt, Medusa, Crystal, and Lockjaw.
Beautiful models.
Yeah, I love those. Got them all painted up. I painted Toad because I want to add him to the list to have some shenanigans with objectives. And I painted Silver Sable.
Nice.
And I did her with the chrome. I didn't show her to you. Hang on. I want to.
Oh, wow.
So
Love it.
I love Silver Sable. I used the Molotov chrome to do her suit. And then, of course, her boots, her gloves, her gun are, blackened. But, what's funny is her boots and her gloves are painted with the brightest silver I have. And they look dull.
Yeah, they do. Next to that chrome, oh my God.
Yeah, next to the chrome, it's nothing. All I did on her chrome was picked out her, the belt bags and the belt so that it stands out a little bit and it's not just all chrome. But other than that, she's chrome, a little bit of mithril silver, gray hair, flesh. The gun is just washed a few times with black, and she's done. And I love her. I love her so much. She's going to my list. So, yeah, I have to get the Inhuman Royal Court, because I need Gorgon and I need the other guys.
Yeah.
So the new Black Bolt and all that stuff. I just want to have that flexibility in my list. So all of those are on the table. Now, that's most of the hobby progress that I did. A couple of things that I wanted to mention real quick. If you are into Infinity and you're looking at those new JSA paint set and the new Pano Sienna paint set, just a word of warning here. They are great paint sets, don't get me wrong. They are awesome. They are Warpaint Fanatic colors. However, each set only has one new unique color. So if you have a whole bunch of the Army Painter Fanatic colors anyway, on the labels of the paints, it tells you what it's equivalent to in the regular Fanatic paint range. So take a look and make sure you're not doubling up.
Yeah.
Now, of course, when you buy the set, you do get 2 new models, one with each set. So the Kestrel, the Pano set has a Kestrel Paramedic, which is really good. And the JSA set has a Paramedic, a Shinobutte Paramedic. I think it's a Shinobutte. Anyway.
I don't recall.
So it's worth the set. And if you don't have those particular paints, and I will say that the Pano Blue and the Ashen Gray or the Shenro Gray that comes with the sets are very faction defining colors. So it's worth getting these boxes. But if you're on a budget, you might want to look and see exactly what paints you're getting, because there are equivalents and you are going to be duplicating your other paints. So that's about it for Hobby Progress.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll have more in After Dark about what I've been doing with my spare time.
With your life.
What are you doing with your life, Josh?
Oh, I know. I do want to do, it's not on this sheet, but I do want to do a quick bat rep.
Okay.
So 3 weeks ago, we got together to do a Battletech regiment on regiment Alpha Strike, regiment on regiment fight. So 4 groups of 4 lances. Oh my God. We kind of smushed together 2 4x6 tables, realized that we were never going to be able to reach the interior. So then what we did was we split them the long way. And we did a scenario where it was a phased withdrawal. So we had 4 players. There were 2 attackers. So 32 models on the attack, 32 models on defense. And the defender bonus was we could lay out these anti-mech minefields.
Oh.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. And what happened is when we fell back through the minefields, we would not get affected because, we knew where the mines were.
Yeah.
But when they came forward and they went into those areas, they had to randomly roll to see if they took hits. And these were some powerful minefields. So it squared things up. It evened things up.
Nice.
The lightning advance, the way we scheduled it so the attacker could have some sort of bonus, was on the first 2 turns of the game, the defenders weren't allowed to move positions. Like, we were just sort of waking up and getting used to the idea that we're getting attacked.
Okay.
And we had an automatic -3 to hit. So it just sort of meant that the Alpha Strike came in as an Alpha Strike, and we lost a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And then we had to fall back successively across what effectively was 16 feet of board. And the attackers had to win by just being in the last table quarter. And if they had more mechs in the last table quarter than we did, they would win. If we had more mechs, we would win. So we tried to keep it from being just a kill mechs kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Oh, my Lord. Was it fun? Oh, and they also got bonus points depending on what turn they got there. So if we just turned tail and ran, we would probably lose. So that kept us from trying to be gamey. Oh, it was so much fun being on defense and just watching all your stuff vaporize on turn 1. And you're like, wait,
what the crap?
All of them. Yeah, but it was a blast. And then falling back and watching the minefields go off. It was such a fun game. And as the defenders, we lost that game by 2 freaking points.
Oh.
After I think it was like 8, 9, 10. It was the 10th turn. And we lost it by basically 2 mechs. We were just like, and I had 1 shot, which obviously we would have only lost by 1, but I had 1 shot and I rolled the dice and I was just like, that's it. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I cannot believe all these dice and got no hits.
Right.
Oh, it was so painful. But, it was such a fun game. We had a great time. And honestly, even for a game that size, 32 mechs per person, or 16 mechs per person, 32 on a side, we wrapped that game up in an evening. We started about 6. We wrapped it up about 10, And that's with all the attendant bullshit, taking time off to go have a beer real quick and sitting around and planning. Oh, it was so much fun.
That's the thing about Alpha Strike.
Yep, it was so good. So good. So let's take a quick break and we're going to get into the main show where we're going to talk about changes to Infinity and changes to Legions Imperialis, and we're going to cover the Ravage Coast book and just a whole bunch of more generic stuff that we're going to do.
Yeah.
So we'll take a quick break.
The world has gotten even stranger than you already know.
At this point, I doubt anything would surprise me.
$10 says you're wrong.
Okay, here we are at the main. Shall we bury the lead and not do Ravage Coast until the end? Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go.
we're going to do that.
Infinity, a lot of changes, not the least of which is they've decided to come out with a new numbering scheme. So originally they came out with N5 version 1, then N5 version 1.1. Now they're starting to realize that people are confusing it with N4 1.1 and all this other stuff. So now they've gone to this is version N5.1.1. That's good. So what did they do in 1.1? Well, some major stuff. Real bugaboos from the original version of the game.
Yeah.
Turrets have been made non-reloadable. Thank God.
Yep.
Because the idea of people just going out there and spamming turrets. Now, most places that I know of had just basically said it was a gentleman's agreement not to be throwing turrets out
Yeah.
like crazy. However, it was tournament legal. And obviously, if you're out there to win a tournament, you're going to be turn one throwing half a dozen turrets out there and then reloading them every single turn for free.
Yes.
And that was just nuts. The defensive curve. Well, first of all, if you got turn one, you bottle the opponent up into their drop zone, their entry zone, without even a thought. And that was pretty much the game. And then if you went turn two and you had perimeter, okay, I just literally come at me, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to eat 8 coordinated turrets. And then you have to fight me.
Yeah.
The models that I actually purchased to play the game with, not the free ones I got. So a little shades of the old Slanesh in AOS, where it was just like, I get 100 free models every turn. All right. Climbing Plus and Super Jump got reworded and reworked to not be every unit goes 800 inches per round. So sort of brought it back to what they intended, what had been written. We kind of get why they had the 8-inch because they were building the height of the model into it. But it was also this thing of, so the tags with Super Jump are now, okay, forget it. It's fixed now. You don't have to worry about it. Don't read those old rules. They're not fun.
Yeah, so it dropped from 8 inches to 3 inches.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah, across the board. And it's now normal.
Yeah.
The jump and super jump work as you expect them to work. It's not some craziness where you just literally are able to walk up to a building and then immediately either jump or vault over it, like some kind of Superman character. No. Now between vault and jump and super jump, you can do what you expect. You can probably you have to start in base contact with the building. So it's probably going to be an extra move unless you set up there. So you can't do a short move into a super jump. So yeah, it's just all the wording's all cleaned up and now it works, I think, as they intended.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of super overpowered that you could, just completely jump a building. Like you can be completely out of line of sight, right? And then all of a sudden you're in, melee range with another model on the other side of the damn building.
Or, even worse, if you're going second, you could start all of your hellish snipers back behind a building, knowing that you had a perimeter already. And then on your active turn, all of your snipers basically get into these amazing firing positions with no interaction from the other person.
Yep.
Because it's not worth it to take those shots. It's not worth it to ARO them because they're going to blast you to smithereens and you're going to have one die to maybe get through their cover.
Yeah.
And no. Fair now, better now. A change to speedballs. Speedballs aren't automatic anymore. They're now, the way they've clarified the way the rules work. It's still you pick one, you roll for the other one, and you basically have to have it in your possession before you need to use it.
Yeah.
You can't run up to it or go up to it, get in base to base, and then immediately have the effect. So speedballs are, better reinforcements. And they're actually a lot of fun now, I think. And I think the idea now that everybody's taking the Vitapack and kind of letting the random die roll determine what's next, I think some people are starting to come around and maybe not always taking the Vitapack because it's not always what you need.
Yeah, yeah.
So, it'll be fun. There are more changes. What? Miscellaneous changes. Hacking programs. White noise now interferes with marksmanship where it didn't before. So there was kind of this thing of why?
Yeah.
Why white noise? But now it messes around with marksmanship, which is good. Armed turrets can't be reloaded. Speedballs the text is changed. Aerial units can never be in silhouette contact with game elements except when unconscious. It's going to prevent weird scoring people, humans, trying to do stupid things with aerial units that it's obvious they were not designed to do.
Yeah.
So, except if you go unconscious, you fall to the ground. So you are now in contact with the game element, the floor.
Yeah.
FT Master, now FT Master together with Inspiring Leadership, now it does work inside the zone of control. So even though FT Master isn't going to completely remove the effect, it's now worded in such a way that FT Master inside of a zone of control, you're not going to just automatically lose control. So kind of nice. Impetuous, the restrictions have been reworked so that now if you are impetuous and you declare an impetuous order, your order has still counted on your side.
Okay.
So because the orders are going to get counted and then you're going to declare an impetuous order. So you are not going to artificially lower your order count to avoid, say, perhaps a strategic ploy of some sort, and then get all the benefits of being impetuous. So, yeah. Stealth, big change. Since cautious movement changed to where you can't do cautious movement inside of a hacking area, because basically the hacker's looking at you, even though you don't think so. If you have stealth, you can now do cautious movement inside a hacking zone. So your hackers are just a little less effective at blanketing all of your flanks than they used to be, which is good.
It is good. Hackers are so strong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they should be. This is what kind of the game's sort of about.
Yeah.
MSV3 allows BS attacks against camo markers in the active term. Mimetism mods will apply to that attack, but you can now attack a camo marker with an MSV3. So,
Okay.
not a ton of people have MSV3, but when you do, you really don't want to get shocked by a camo marker, and you don't want to get stabbed in the back when you're like, I have this visor that basically reveals the entire world to me, except the guy that's trying to kill me.
Yeah,
Okay.
except that one.
Yeah, except that guy. A nano screen doesn't work on comm attacks now, so yeah, that's good. That's really good because nano screens are so freaking strong now.
Yep.
It's portable cover, and it's just they're so good. But the idea that they also blocked all, no, that didn't work. The restriction to remove 2 regular orders from your opponent, they have to have a minimum of 10 active orders. Now that quite literally is going to allow you to play all kinds of shenanigans during your list building.
Yep.
To have a whole bunch of stealth, a whole bunch of reserve, and maybe get down to that 9 orders on the table so that they can't be taken away from you. It sort of pads if you are planning to go first. If your list is dependent on going first, it's something to look at.
It is. It is for sure.
Otherwise, it's just going to be a laughable thing at the beginning of the game.
That's it.
Isolated state does not remove unspent lieutenant orders, but it does prevent your NCOs from converting them into tactical orders and then using them, which basically would mean isolated was no longer a condition for your characters. Yeah, it's just putting a little bit more teeth back into being isolated. An isolated lieutenant can use his own special order when he's isolated. So you do still have isolated lieutenants that are not going to just sit there and become bullet sponges. They're going to do stuff. A couple little things are changing, especially, the big change from, not the big change, one of the changes from N4 to N5 is how pistols are no longer a CC weapon. Now they're specifically adding back CC abilities to certain pistols. And it looks to me like they're going through on a case-by-case basis.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Yeah, so somebody that has, a high CC value, but their only CC weapon is pistol, well, it's sort of invalidated their high CC value. Now they're giving it back to them. So that's just a highlight of the different changes. There's some really great videos out there like Sheridan and stuff doing great videos about what really changed and how it's going to affect A, list building, and B, gameplay. So definitely check those out from people that know crap load more than us. So, any other N5 changes that we should go over?
I'm looking through it. I don't know if there's anything really big that we have to touch on now. I mean, just go watch one of the videos. That would be an entire separate show if we went through
it
piece
would.
by piece.
Yeah.
Because the update document is...
Yeah, Sheridan does like a
gigantic.
45-minute video talking about the changes and how some of them are so very small, but so impactful.
That's a sign of a really refined system, you know? Same thing like Parabellum does with Conquest, right? Sometimes it's just simple little word changes and completely balances the game.
They pull a small lever and all kinds of things happen, which is great, which is really good. And yeah, it does show a tight rule system, which is what both of those companies go for.
Yep.
Okay, so Legions Imperialis got a FAQ. And oh my God, did they change? Oh, I don't know. Everything?
Well, I mean, you know, the second bullet point you got here is, I think, really important.
It's huge. This is the one that keeps Raven Guard from just dominating every game or other people that have forward deployed. So basically what it turned out to be is you cannot give a unit that was forward deployed a charge order on turn 1. Flat out. Just you cannot. Thank you.
Yeah.
Such a good change.
That's simple.
It's super simple. I think a lot of places had house ruled that because it only made sense. Otherwise, those forward deployed units are across the board turn 1, and they're doing things that they really should not be. They're turning it into a one-sided kind of game.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was not fun. To me, the biggest change is the infantry full move is now 2 times their movement, not 3 times. That is huge. And it's going to keep the game from becoming just a smash down, smash mouth fight in the middle of the board because everybody's moving their infantry up 3 times. So they're moving, probably 18 inches. They're getting to the middle. They're occupying, they're garrisoning buildings.
Yep.
And then it's an exercise in digging out the infantry or the infantry fight over a building. And then the other side has to dig whatever's left out.
Yeah.
And the gameplay became predictable and kind of boring. So now infantry only moves 2 times, which is really great because notice it doesn't say vehicles.
Yeah.
It says infantry. So if you load your infantry up into the vehicles, hey, guess what? They're moving a lot, and then they can disembark and do stuff. But that's pretty much what we see in 40K. That's in 30K. That's how we saw armored assaults.
Yep.
That's what it should look like. Not just a whole bunch of guys running across the board at Superman-like speeds. So I will say read the garrison rules again because they have changed and a lot of very insignificant words changed that had very significant impacts on how garrisoning works. So another huge change. Tarantulas and drop pods now have a tactical strength of 0.
Thank God.
So you can't drop them on an objective and go, oh, I've won. Look at me. Isn't that just crazy? Yeah, no, they do not auto take objectives. They can contest the shit out of objectives, but they cannot just take the objective because you forward drop them.
Yeah.
Thank you. Again, it just made for these silly game situations where you are having to do things that were so against the lore and against any kind of thought process that would be like, oh, just because the dude dropped a tarantula behind my line, I now have to go back, kill it because it's taking all my points. Oh, fuck. No, doesn't work that way no more.
It's ridiculous that was even allowed in the first place.
Yeah.
You know, any game that allows you to like sort of cheat that way, so to speak. It wasn't technically cheating because it was within the game rules, but like it's practically cheating. I don't know why that just was such an oversight, you know, particularly in a game that is very like lore centric.
Yeah.
You know,
where you're trying to recreate these events from the published fiction. And what you end up with is so incredibly different from how it played out in the novel. Now, I get it. That's one novelist's view of how the battle could go down. But to basically say, well, you know, if they had just dropped all these tarantulas in the back, they wouldn't have had to fight that battle. They would have won. Yeah, no, that would not have done it. So
it sounds ridiculous.
If it sounds really stupid, it probably is. And they fixed it. But definitely, if you're playing Legions Imperialis and you enjoy the heck out of it, read that FAQ forward, front to back. There's a lot that changed.
Yeah.
And almost all of it is good. You know, the vibe check on this one, just like the Infinity changes, the vibe checks are really, really good. Everybody says these are things that needed to happen. There's more that needs to happen, but these are great starts.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so shall we get into the meat of it now? The Path to Glory, Ravaged Coast. This belongs to a game I haven't played. I've heard about this game, Age of Sigmar.
Yeah. I have a couple friends who played it and told me about it. Ravaged Coast. We were going to talk about this a while back, but you know,
It's been
life
out
had its
while.
way of dictating our topics.
Yes.
Before. So, Ravaged Coast. Dang it, Bill, they finally did what we asked them to.
I know they released a book all about Path to Glory, and by and large, it's really kick ass. It makes some changes to Path to Glory. I think are really, really well done, understated. It's not like, oh, this changes everything. These are just nice, gentle fixes. It's a lot. They build so much flexibility into this system that you can consider it more like a framework for narrative play
Yes.
than just, oh, I have to play Ravaged Coast and I have to use these regiments of renown and I have to do. No, there's rules in there for how to do those regiments of renown, but you're not locked into that. And as you're homebrewing stuff, this gives you a phenomenally good framework for doing Path to Glory. And in the basic setup for this Path to Glory, it's literally a start with 1,000 points and you grow from there. One thing that I'm personally loving seeing is when you win a scenario, you get 3 of their, I call them campaign points because I'm tired of trying to keep up with what currency is what, and that'll come up more in After Dark. I am so tired of Emberstone token.
Emberstone.
So yeah, Emberstone or campaign points.
Yeah.
You get 3 campaign points for a win, and you get a D3 for a loss.
That's nice.
Yeah, so basically you can get the same amount for losing and winning. It puts you in that place of, with a little bit of luck, you're not going to be just falling behind. They still need a catch-up mechanic in Path to Glory.
Yeah.
It's still something that doesn't exist in here. They do have the underdog rules for each scenario, and the twists. Oh, my God. Oh, I thought I had... Where is that table? The table is so cute. Some of the twists are just... You just read them, and it makes you laugh because they're fun, and they were meant to be fun. And that's what I kind of like about this book is it's a serious campaign. Don't get me wrong, but they're not so wrapped around their own axles that they refuse to have a little bit of fun with the armies involved. So there's a whole, it's page 33 of the book. It's a whole page of different twists with, I'm not going to go over, we're not going to read out of the book this time. You're just going to have fun reading through these twists. And then, there's a table that tells you which one to roll on, which one of these tables to roll on. Or if you roll a 6, the player whose general has the lowest rank picks which twist table to use. If you both have the same rank, you just roll again. So basically, if you're behind, you can be like, oh, I really want you to get screwed by this one.
Yep.
And then you roll and see if you get screwed by it. So, and I like how they've given Ravaged, they're specifically titled Ravaged Coast abilities, Ravaged Coast enhancements. So they don't get confused with the main game. And it allows you to pick and choose what you like from this book, pull it into your homebrew, or just, it's perfectly viable to use the book as is. The scenarios are great.
Yeah.
Each one of the scenarios looks nicely balanced without they're throwing away everything in favor of balance. Some of the scenarios, and you're going to read them, they are not balanced per se.
Yep.
They are going to be balanced during gameplay by who takes what side.
Yeah.
And they call that out. And I love that. That's just great fun. And it's going back towards putting the fun in a narrative campaign.
Thank goodness.
So yeah, I mean, it's really, really nice. I can't say enough about how they have baked things into this Path to Glory system. And the more they refine it, the better it gets. You're now able to change your general.
Yep.
So, hello. And the best part is, they have that little sidebar in there called Usurp the Throne. So when your existing general gets booted and is no longer the general, he keeps all the enhancements that he had. So if you've upgraded him to be this, that, and the other thing, and you've tweaked up his weapon and you've done all this stuff, you don't throw all that stuff away. He stays with it. He's just a little salty that he's not in charge anymore. But, if you come across and you have the points and you want to get somebody better and you want to start growing someone better, or heaven forbid, you're trying to even up a campaign where you're running away a little bit, maybe you play a couple of games with this not so good leader.
Yeah.
And you allow people to have a better chance of taking you down. That's how you self-impose a catch-up mechanic. But I think they still need a catch-up mechanic, period, in the game.
Yeah, of course, I agree with you. I mean, it's really nice to see when they take this space to make it just about Path to Glory, what they're capable of doing with it.
Oh, yeah.
And that was like, we ranted and raved about that in the past, where it's like it was stapled onto the battle tomes, right? Or sometimes you get maybe a little something in a GHB or something like that, right? But it was never just focus fire on Path to Glory. And I think they learned a lot from Crusade in 40K, that when they actually like sit down with that design space and focus purely on that, what they're capable of doing. I really hope people go out and like purchase this.
Yep.
I'm not telling you to spend money, but like, we kind of vote with our dollars with companies, right? And if enough people are like, this is what we want, particularly in a fantasy setting, right? Yeah. We'll see more books like this and better books.
Yeah. And, just having 10 new paths to go down from the main book, from the 4 in the main book, now you can really tailor your hero to be what you want. And with the ability to change generals, no longer are you limited to, well, I started with a sorcerer guy. I'm not real happy with that. I wish I had gone down the priest route. Okay, you hire a new guy and you make him a priest and he's your general now. Yeah. And you haven't lost anything. Your other guy is still just as good. He's just not the general.
Yep.
But you can build up this new guy. And so it eliminates some of those, I made a bad decision at the start and now I'm stuck with it for the entire campaign. And I hate it.
Yeah.
Well, no longer do you have to hate it. You can just change. You can just redo. I would have liked to have seen maybe something where you can depose your old general and maybe get some of the points you spent on him back, maybe half of them, lose half, get half back, and then be able to bring up your new guy. But I get why they're not going to do that, because that could be really strange in the middle of a campaign. But, there could be a mechanic in there. That's something you could homebrew.
Oh, yeah.
You could just say, all right, these two are going to have a fight to the death, and this guy wins. Okay, so he takes some of that guy's stuff, but not all of it, and the other guy runs off. And who knows, if you have a game mastered campaign, maybe that guy becomes the new BBEG, and he's got a real case against you. Maybe if that's the Ringer army, it plays just normally against everybody else, but if they play you, they have bonuses because he does not like you.
That'd be fun. That'd be very fun.
Yeah, I mean, just little things you can look at homebrewing with the new framework that they have, and it's super available. I mean, to me, this book represents more of a very expanded Path to Glory framework than this is how you have to play. You will do narrative campaigns this way.
Yep.
And I think they've embraced the idea of, let's give you a whole bunch of ideas for cool rules, and you take it and run with it.
Yeah.
And go with it. And if you do want to play it right out of the book, it's absolutely 100% viable.
Yep.
There's nothing left to chance. They've got it covered.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a fun campaign and you don't want to spend 3 weeks figuring out how it's going to work, boom, here's your framework. Make the changes that make sense for your group and go on. There you go. You're done.
Yep. All in all, is a major step up from where, narrative gaming in AOS was before. That little teaser that we get, in the rule book is really made manifest here.
Yeah.
So if you're, on that narrative gaming train, and particularly in AOS, this is a Path to Glory.
Oh, that was good. Wow.
Got him.
Profound.
Got him.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, highly recommend it. You know, the story stuff in there is fun. You know, this is really just a place to go. And like we see how they've been developing Crusade in 40K, which I didn't think narrative gaming would be as popular in 40K than it would be in a fantasy setting. It's really taken off.
I always had this thought in my head that it was more popular than they thought.
Yep.
Because the vocal minority that was the tournament crowd and the emphasis they put on that minority, that's the hardcore crowd, tournament crowd, does not represent the bulk of their sales.
Correct.
And they can tell this, and it's pretty easy to see by simple sales figures. And if all the sales leaders were the things winning tournaments, okay, you can glean that yours is a tournament game only. When the sales figures are like they are, and so many people are buying factions that aren't leading the charts, well, guess what? People are playing your game in ways you do not think they are because they're not getting all the press.
Yeah.
And, you know, this has always been the trap of feeding the tournament scene. You want to do it because those are the guys that give you your best balance information.
Yeah.
They let you know when things are broken. They let you know when things are balanced. They're the bellwethers for the system. They're not the majority of players.
Correct.
So I think that Crusade that's coming out, I think Pariah Nexus did pretty well. I think this next one is going to do really, really well. They understand that that's where a lot of sales come from. And if you make the narrative side of the game fun, there's going to be those people that are just constantly churning and buying your stuff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other companies have already realized this, and they don't promote one thing over another. They never have. And so it's kind of built in that they have a narrative framework that works. And GW is getting into that idea. So more power to them.
Yeah. And, you know, with what Crusade has been doing, you know, particularly going to different places, having different narrative experiences, you know, as we said, you got all the different, you know, realms. There's so many places you can go.
God.
So many places you can go and different experiences you could provide your customer base, right? And I think that if they follow that same type of design philosophy in Path to Glory, it is literally going to take us as players to different places.
Oh, yeah.
That we may have never been.
Yep.
You know, it's going to be great.
And, you know, you've always got White Dwarf to put out the stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have to sit there and produce these books. A 5-6 page spread in White Dwarf is going to keep that content train rolling. So do it. They're doing good.
Yes.
I love the last couple of White Dwarfs, man. Jesus.
Yeah, we can pat him on the head for these ones.
I'm telling you what. Yeah, it's just the only thing that I would leave out of White Dwarf is all the fiction, the short stories that they put in there. I mean, unless it really hits you, it's just wasted pages. It's pages where you could be putting cool AOS Path to Glory stuff.
Yeah.
So,
You know, like releasing additional scenarios. That'd be the primo thing to do. Like 2 scenarios every 3 to 4 months, right? That would be great.
yeah, or even just alternate build paths for specific reasons. I want to build a Skaven warlord differently than, okay, here's this weird path for a Skaven warlord only. You can't pick it as a human. But if you're a Skaven, you can do this. So, anyway, it's just thoughts. So, sadly, I would say that's kind of what we were going to cover in today's show. There was so many updates and stuff to cover that we'll have to get back to our normal content schedule next time. But we really wanted to cover all these amazing things that have come out in the last month.
Yeah, you know, when Adepticon happens, it happens.
Oh boy, it's like a freight train, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Even those companies that didn't go. I mean, we didn't even begin to talk about like Star Wars Legion, where they just developed a whole new roadmap and a whole new. Did you see they got rid of Palpatine?
No.
Oh my God. Freaking thank you, AMG. They actually looked at it and said, why in the hell would the Emperor be leading a force of stormtroopers? I mean, he literally has the resources of the Empire at his disposal, but he's going to be out there with a bunch of stormtroopers. Yeah, no, he's not. He's not there no more. Thank you.
Common sense.
Yeah, just basic common sense things. They released a whole new roadmap for Star Wars Legion. breathing life back into it, which, it really needed because I think it was faltering pretty hard. And so Asmodee might have been right to give it to AMG.
AMG does great with their games.
They do.
I mean, just hands down. Like the way they have, such a reign on Marvel Crisis Protocol.
Oh.
How they're able to balance the game despite, some, of the heroes or villains might be too powerful in like a comic book sense.
Well, they make miscues, but they're not. They're willing to fix them when
Yeah.
they see them. And, Malekith took a few swings. Hell, Thanos took years to fix and make correct. But the fact is they do it.
Yeah.
When they see these things and they are oppressive, they listen and they go, oh, we should change that.
Yeah.
And they do. They're not embarrassed about it. They just are like, well, we thought this was going to go, but evidently not. So,
Malekith was brutal.
oh God, that first version was, and again, it speaks back to that. Who are your playtesters? If your playtesters are the dev team, they're kind of good at the game. They're
Yeah.
kind of experts and they know what they mean. The problem is they wrote it, so they know what they meant. They may not know exactly how someone else is going to read that and implement it. So it's that whole thing of make sure somebody else reads your work before you turn it in. It sounds really stupid, but bring in a half a dozen outside playtesters who would have told you this guy's too strong.
Yeah.
On turn one, he dominates the game and doesn't look back. So, I think they hit Thor too hard,
Yes.
but maybe they were right. I don't know. I think they still went a little overboard. They were perfect with Thanos. I think they hurt Thor a little too much, but you know what? He's still very, very playable.
Yeah.
He's not like, oh, well, I can't take him. He sucks.
Yeah.
So anyway, next time we meet, we will determine what we're going to talk about because we haven't determined that yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Next show is TBD.
Yeah.
But we can assure you with as much as everything is coming down that we can have a really good conversation about something.
Something. Yes.
Whether it's going to be really diving in on getting started in Infinity again or
It might just be work. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying too.
Yeah.
So yeah, folks. So that's going to be it for the show today. Updates and changes. We'll have a meteor show next time. Please reach out to us on the Discord. Keep the conversations there, flowing. A lot of great hobby work on there that we see. I really hope that y'all will engage with us there. As we always say, if you're a Patreon member,
Yeah.
you can join us after dark. Because I
That's
think
right.
looking at the outline here, I think Bill might have some words. So I think it's going to be a good one. We'll see you later.
The Albuquerque Narrative Gamers Podcast, or Anger Podcast, is protected under the Creative Commons license. You can find information for this at creativecommons.org. Information and links about the show's topics will be in the show notes, as will any other copyright information that needs to be presented.